Hello, my dear friend. You are welcome to another English language lesson on writing. In this lesson, we are going to focus on the parts of a formal letter. I hope you have come with your pen and your books to note important points. Note that when you follow up this lesson attentively, you acquire skills on how you can write formal letters. You will always in your life have to write formal letters for different reasons. Pay attention and discover more. But before we go into the lesson proper, I'd like you to do a revision exercise with your knowledge from previous lessons. Answer the following questions. Name two types of letters. Name two types of letters. Now, we can go to withdraw or keep money in a bank. Where do people usually go to send or receive their letters? Did you think of the answer smartly or quickly? Yes. Two types of letters are the formal letter and the informal letter. I think for a correct answer. Number two, people usually go to send or receive letters at the post office. At a post office. Good job. Next question. How do you call the letter sent through the internet? You know, nowadays, you send letters through the internet. Now, to send a letter through the post office, you must have the post office box number. What do you need to send a letter through the internet? Good. Smart learner. Let's check it out. Letters are sent through the internet. Letters sent through the internet are called emails or electronic mails. That's good. And you need an email address to be able to send a letter through the internet. That's good. By the end of the lesson, you will define a formal letter, list 4 instances where a formal letter is needed, and name the parts of a formal letter. 3 tasks you are expected to execute by the end of the lesson. 1. Define a formal letter. Number 2. List 4 instances where a formal letter is needed. And number 3. Name the parts of a formal letter. Let's move on. Read these situations and reflect on the questions. Situation 1. Mr. Penka wants to apply for a job. Now, situation 2. Mrs. Ayaba is writing to complain about a stolen car. Situation 3. Etua has to justify why he was absent from school for 3 days. And number 4, Mr. Foku wants a business partnership with Mrs. Ngwa. So, questions. Which kind of letters will they all write? Number 2, what is a formal letter? And number 3, name 3 examples of a formal letter. Are you quick on that? Think, think, think. Keep your brains ticking. Work your brains, work your brains. Good. Let's see what you've got there. Compare your ideas with these. Which kind of letter will they all write? Obviously, they will all write a formal letter. They will all write a formal letter. So what is a formal letter? A formal letter is a letter which is written to hierarchy, to somebody in position of authority, a business partner, or someone you are not acquainted to. You write a formal letter to hierarchy, that is to persons in authority. You write to a business partner, or you can equally write to someone you are not acquainted to. So, examples of a formal letter include a letter of complaint You want to complain about theft in your quarter. You want to complain about broken pipes in your quarter, or you want to complain about something, maybe somebody who is causing problems to you. You write a complaint. A complaint is an example of a formal letter. You have an application letter. An application letter for a job. You can write an application letter when you want a visa. You can write an application letter when you want to have a document from a particular office. You can write an application letter when you want to ask for a service from an office or from a school. Even when you want admission into a school, you can equally write an application letter. You also have a business letter. For example, imagine that Congelcam wants to enter into partnership with another company. Congelcam, the company that is selling fish in our country, wants to enter into partnership with another company. You can write a business letter. Or imagine that you want that you and another friend should start a business. You write a business letter. You can make an order. An order is a formal letter. When you want to pass a command, maybe you need tools for your a workshop and you want to order from a company, you write it. It is a formal letter. You can write an inquiry when you want to ask a question, official questions about certain things. That is an inquiry letter. You can write an agreement. An agreement is a formal letter. You can write a petition. You can also write an employment letter. For example, when you are given employment, if you write an application and you are recruited, you are now given an employment letter to show that you are being employed, a contract too. So there are many examples of formal letters, but here are examples. Now, what are the various parts of a formal letter? A formal letter has a format which needs to be followed. A typical formal letter will have this format. You start with the sender's address, the date on which the letter is written, the address, the addressee. Addressee is the person to whom the letter is being written. We also have the salutation. We have the subject, the body, which includes the introduction, the content, the conclusion. Then we have the complementary clause, then the signature and the name of the sender. Here are the parts of a formal letter, and they are displayed on a template like this. You have number 1, the sender's address on the top right-hand corner of your page. You have the date, which is number 2, just below the sender's address. Then you move to the left, just below the date, and write the receiver's address. And then you put the salutation just below the address. Then you come into the middle and you write the subject. The subject is the topic of your letter. What out? Number 6, you write the body, that is the introduction, the content, and the conclusion, which you know that each paragraph must contain sentences relating to one main idea. Then, at the end, you go down and write the complementary clause to show that you have finished the letter, and then you end up signing. You put your name, that is number 8. I hope you can see that layout. Now, test your knowledge to see if you have been following up. Answer the following questions. 1. What is a formal letter? 2. List 4 types of formal letters. And number 3, write out the parts that constitute a formal letter. You have 1.5 minutes to do this exercise. Pause the video and complete the exercise first. I know you are a smart learner and you can do that. Good job. 1.5 minutes is over, and let's check. and compare our answers. Here, what is a formal letter? A formal letter is a letter which is written to hierarchy, a business partner, or someone you are not acquainted to. Good. Did you have an idea like that? Good job. Number 2, list 4 types of formal letters. 4 examples of formal letters will include any of the following: a letter of complaint, an application letter, an order, an inquiry, an agreement, a petition, an employment letter, or a contract, or any other one which you have listed. Please do well to give yourself a tick for any correct answer that you have got. Good. And write out the parts that constitute a formal letter. So, a typical formal letter has this format. We have the sender's address, the date, address of the addressee, the salutation, the subject, the body, including the introduction, the content, and the conclusion. Then you have the complementary clause. Then you have the complementary clause, the signature, and the name of the sender. I hope you had this order. A clap to you, and you are like this. Dear friend, thank you for taking an active part in this lesson. But before you go, remember that we have learned that a formal letter is a letter which is written to hierarchy, to a person in authority, a business partner, or someone you are not acquainted to. A letter of complaint, an application letter, a business letter, or contract letter are examples of formal letters. Formal letters have a strict structure that must be respected. Formal letters has the sender's address and the address of the recipient or the addressee. There are 2 addresses on a formal letter, and a formal letter must also have a subject. The topic for which you are writing must be on a formal letter. You can say an application for a job. You can say a letter of permission, an application for permission. You can also say a contract letter. So those are the subjects of your letter. Whatever you're writing about, you must put the topic on your letter. Dear friend, thank you for having taken an active part. I would like to see you in our next lesson, and come along with your pen and books. Do well to take practice on how to write a formal letter, and also go through audio lessons and print lessons that are found on the platform. Until then,